Okay, I'll tell you when. Oh my god, 2 of them. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Alright, now. Beautiful, beautiful. Teammate here on that thing, kind of far. I'm just gonna go. One left, apparently.
Intel, US Air Force, 1xBet, and DHL.
Which team will give us the hardest in our group? I think most of them are average, considering how, in terms of how they can surprise us. I think Gambit can surprise us, Cloud9 can surprise us, and even Fura with their aggressive style. Each team is very dangerous for us. I think the only one team that is not as much dangerous as others is Team 1, but all others can surprise.
Well, Blade, yesterday Furia did beat you, right? So there is that. It did catch up with you. Nonetheless, Furia is still a tough opponent. They're not in this matchup, though. It's going to be Gambit taking on Navi to start the day off. For Navi and Gambit, last time they went toe-to-toe would have been Katowice just, I want to say several weeks ago, a few weeks ago. Feels like a lifetime ago.
A month ago.
Yeah, kind of feels like that. About a month ago. Now where do we find ourselves?
Yeah, that was a pretty underwhelming, as Chad and Alex pointed out, matchup that we hyped up a lot. We thought it was going to be, we have Simple and Electronic versus Exile and Shiro and so on. And Gambit just blew them out of the server.
16-12, 16-6 across Overpass and Train.
Yeah, and you feel like Overpass was even a bit more convincing than the result shows there. So we talked to Hobbit as well, saying that it was obvious that they prepared really well for Navi, right? And they just executed the game plan in tremendous fashion, really blew them out of the server. So this is going to be interesting for me because Navi had a month off, right? So can you rely as much on preparation as you did, right, if you're Gambit? And also, I think we're definitely seeing some different maps. There's no way in hell Navi picks Train again against Gambit after that sort of a loss they had in the quarterfinals. And also for Gambit, their overpass has been a little bit shaky. In Katowice, they lost a couple of games, but they won overpass every time they played it in the playoffs, right? Which is the most important part. But then again, coming here to Pro League, they also had 2 losses on. So it's just like, we don't know really where do they stand on it. Do they feel like they just misplayed some of those games, right? And they still feel very confident in their overpass? Because if not, what is their pick? Do they pick Train now?
And for Gambit, having heard from Hobbit in a post-match interview, saying that versus C9, they felt some stress, and this was something they needed to talk through. What does that bode going forward? Obviously, you talk about Overpass being somewhat of a middle weird sort of ground that Gambit find themselves.
Yeah, I think also look at that Cloud9 game. They started off 11-1, right, as CT, and then they lost 15-1 from that point on, only winning the second pistol round, and that was it, right? They got shut out on their T side. So outside of that half, actually, where they, the second half of Overpass, they dominated Cloud9 throughout that game, right? So maybe things were not as grim as they looked in that particular map for them. Obviously, it's not something you want to see happening. I mean, if you are really a good team on a map, you are good because you can always win rounds on the harder side, which obviously is T side on a map like Overpass, and they weren't able to do that. They even struggled against MIBR in some rounds where they had, clear advantages and so forth. And you can see now some highlights from Vertigo from yesterday. That's probably Gambit's best map now, but unfortunately for them, that's Navi's permaban.
Yeah, so that one's pretty much right out of the window. You can't even...
Gambit beating Furia, we're gonna get a 3-way tie and so on. So there's still chances for Navi to be the top of the group despite the loss to Furia. For Gambit, they need a win here. Basically, for first, they will lock a playoff spot, but then they still have that #1 spot potentially available for them.
Pending, almost, you could say. Now, we could take a look at the vetoes. Could it look just like it did in Katowice?
There's no way. I think Navi has to switch up their pick. The worst thing is Navi is the lower seed now, so they're probably going to, I don't know, maybe something like a Dust could be a pick for them. Or actually, they're not the first seed.
So far, identical. Will the first map be over?
Yeah, the permabans are there. I think we're going to see a Dust somewhere in here.
Okay.
Actually, Gambit is the one that picks it. And from Navi, now I think Navi could have actually picked Dust themselves. For them, I'm very curious to see what they pick. Like, do they whip out a Mirage? Probably not against...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe not after what happened yesterday, right? But they're a bit... This is the problem with Navi now, right? You're not really sure if Nuke's not there. Train, they tried. It didn't work against Gambit. They have to go for something else. I will check this. I'm not sure. Maybe Petter, if he's watching this, he can tweet this out. I can't remember the last time Navi picked Mirage. It has to be, I don't know, maybe a couple of years even.
A couple minutes ago.
Right, so it's a map that they're not bad on. They never pick it. Somehow teams rarely pick it against them. And yeah, we saw Overpass was the decider, right? So that's, I think, sort of a middle ground. We see Navi is more willing to play Overpass after this break and the time they had to practice on it. So and it is kind of a weird thing right here. We actually heard this the other day. Someone referring to Shiro as Simple's little brother. Simple
almost.
Junior, yeah.
Yeah, Simple
was
Junior.
S-Tag.
Yeah, and so for S-Tag to say that, obviously, it's holding some merit. And then you look in the server.
Say that,
and what
obviously,
it's holding some merit. And then Simple on the other side.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting, right?
Yeah, Simple's
I tweeted out during Katowice, when Shiro and Exile are, on fire, it reminds a little bit of Simple and Electronic. And, Blade replied. He DM'd me. He said, this is exactly what I said to Gambit CEO when we were, scouting players for that team and so on, that they, remind me of those two guys. So I think there's definitely some resemblance there, even, obviously Simple and Shiro being the oppers, but even Exile, some of the positions he plays on the CT side, it's a little bit similar to what Electronic plays. I think, he's probably watching him play a lot and, trying to copy some of his game. Why not? I mean, he's one of the best players in the world, very proficient at his role. So definitely some similarities there. Talking about Dust 2 specifically, yesterday we saw a great T side from Gambit, right? Some good calling, good job using the same, A smokes to hit A first, then do a B split. So, it's hard to get a read on them. They had some good individual performances. Nafani towards the end of that first half had some big rounds. Obviously Shiro early on with the pistol round clutch, and that's just the danger of Gambit. They are solid as a team, and they also have these different individuals who can step up for them and get a key kill in a round, right, to swing it back into their way. And so on, and yeah, it can be really annoying to play against.
So regarding what we see on the Navi side when it comes down to swapping or hot swapping players in and out of maps, are we going to see any of that this series, Jacob?
Yeah, Flamey is still playing Dust 2 for them, so he's going to start the series. But then Mirage and Overpass, it's Bit's playground now, right? And that, from what we've seen, it's 3 of the 6 maps now. We haven't seen them play Train yet, right? So we don't know if it's still Bit or Flamey on that map. But now we already have 100%. Half of the maps, Bit is playing instead of Flamey. So it's increasing. We'll see how it goes moving forward, right? Whether it is going to be phased out of the lineup slowly but surely. But the thing is, with Navi's T side on Dust, I saw a few cool little things, like the half buy they bought with the fast B split, you know, smoking CT spawn from like outside long, then on the run, like that really caught Cloud9 off guard. The biggest problem for
Так, ну что, начинается матч Нави против Gambit. Проверка.
It doesn't matter what you do. Coming into a duel, right, and hitting a bomb site, so hopefully they will step it up a little bit individually, right, so that some of the things that they are doing that look good, right, as a team-wise, strategy-wise, they can actually execute it properly and win some more rounds on the T side.
So Yanko, where are you going to lay your hat in the series?
Gambit, I'm a Gambit fanboy, dude.
Just going for it.
I'm going for Gambit, like, all the way.
But like,
I got worried that,
or?
no, not convincingly, you know, you can't really...
I was about to say,
And it's also always a bit foolish to bet against Simple whenever he's on the server, but I just like how they approach CS, how they play, like team-wise, the things I see from them, and yeah, I'm just a fan of Gambit.
Yeah, shout out to Gambit one time.
Gambit holsters.
Yanko would like some merch, so just there it is. He's right here. You can reach him out for a DM, you get his address, all that. For us, there's only one destination, and it's going to be the Hearthstone known as Dust 2. We're going to go ahead and give it over to Chad and Alex so we jump right into a pistol round.
Thank you very much, gents. Yeah, scene is set by YNK and Stun Up. I've got Sponge here for the, well,
it's a big one.
I don't want to, you know, call it the big game of the day, but honestly, seeing these two head-to-head again after Katowice, we will have a lot of very, very nerdy Counter-Strike going down.
Well, the P250 on Shiro has already gone down to 10. I want to make a quick note here of the utility on Perfecto on Boomich as well, both with nades.